Hello friends, my name is Emma Gardner and I'm the WVU Extension 4-H agent in Roane County. Today we are going to be talking about phases of matter. So there are 3 phases of matter. Solid, which means anything that holds its shape and that you can't pass through easily. Liquids, which will fill the container that they are stored in and can be passed through with your hand. And then gas, which will expand to fit any container. So these are our 3 phases of matter. So we are going to start today by doing a very simple experiment that you can do at home. All you need is a cube of ice and some kind of pan and a cooktop. All right, so I now have my cooktop, it's heating, I have my cube of ice, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it onto the cooktop and we're gonna see what happens. So you can already see that we have our solid ice melting. And you can see that there's water, which is the liquid version of ice, pooling around the ice cube. So this phase change is called melting. It's when a solid goes to a liquid. Now we have all liquid and you can see that there are some bubbles forming. So this is when a liquid goes to a gas, and this process is called boiling and evaporating. So there we have our 3 phases of matter going through their phase changes. We had our solid ice melt into liquid water, and then we have our liquid water evaporate into our water vapor or steam, and that is our gas. So those are our 3 phases of matter. There is another phase change that you don't often get to see, and we're going to be able to see that today. So if you guys are interested in doing this experiment at home, you're going to play with something called dry ice. So dry ice is the solid form of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a gas typically, and we find it when we breathe in oxygen through a process called respiration. We breathe out carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is usually a gas, but at temperatures as low as -109 degrees Fahrenheit, it solidifies into dry ice. So number 1, it is -109 degrees Fahrenheit. You should never be touching it with your bare hands. You can use gloves to touch it, or you can use a tool such as tongs. So I'm going to be using tongs today. Second, if you are using dry ice, you need to make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area. And if you are carrying dry ice in a vehicle, you need to make sure you roll down the windows. So the big important things there are do not touch it with your bare hands and make sure you are in a ventilated space while using it. My preference is for you to use dry ice outside. So what we're going to do is we are going to see dry ice turn into a gas. So this is a process called sublimation. So I'm gonna use this cup here. I'm gonna pour a little bit of water in it, and we're gonna be able to really see this process. So it's happening right now, but you guys can't really see it. You might notice maybe wisps of the air, but this will make it a lot more obvious. So I'm gonna grab a couple of pieces. You can hear it whistling because it's so cold, and I'm just gonna drop it in here. You can already see it looks like it's boiling, but you can see the vapor pouring off of the table. So carbon dioxide and water vapor, for that matter, is heavier than our atmospheric air, so it sinks. So you can see it pouring off. And if you look at this, you can see that it's going from a solid to a gas, and it's bubbling up through it. So it also reminds me a little bit of a witch's cauldron. So all you need to do this is you need some water, and you need a little bit of dish soap, which hopefully I have enough. And you need to mix it well. And I'm just making a bubble solution. What you'll do is you'll take a paper towel and you will fold it so that you can cut it into pretty narrow strips. So here I have my strip of paper, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip it into my soapy solution that I just made. I'm gonna add a little bit more dry ice. Whoop. And I'm gonna pour a little bit of water over it so that it's really going good and we can really see it. There we go. And I'm gonna take my strip of paper towel, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rub it over the top. And you can see now we have our carbon dioxide and water vapor are filling up our bubble. And it's fun to see how big you can get your bubble before it pops. And you can do this a couple of times, so it's quite fun. Pop. So just to reiterate our phase changes. So if we have solids, liquids, and gases in a triangle here, you can see when the solid moves to the liquid, that is called melting. When a liquid moves to the solid, that is called freezing. Down here, with our liquid and our gas, when the liquid moves to the gas, that's called evaporation or evaporating. When the gas moves to the liquid, that is called condensation. And finally, we have our solid and our gas. So when the gas moves to a solid, that's our deposition or depositing. And when our solid moves to a gas, like with our dry ice, that is called sublimation or sublimating. Thank you so much for listening to me today talk about the phases of matter. If you tried either of these experiments at home, please make sure that you have adult supervision. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the phases of matter, solids, liquids, and gases. Thank you.